In the year 2001, the idea of BRICS was born in a place far away from global politics. It was not created by presidents. It was not announced by governments. It was not designed to challenge the world. It was simply a banker's prediction. An economist at Goldman Sachs used four letters B, R, I, and C to describe countries he believed would grow rapidly in the future: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. At the time, BRICS meant nothing: no power, no unity, no influence. But today, those same four letters, now joined by others, represent one of the most powerful shifts in the global history. BRICS is no longer a concept. It is becoming a global superpower bloc. For decades, the world followed one system. The West made the rules, the US dollar dominated the trade, the IMF and the World Bank controlled global finance. Military alliances defined security. Developing countries followed, advanced countries decided. But history does not stand still. And the cracks in the old system began to show. The first major shock came in 2008, the global financial crisis. Banks collapsed, jobs vanished, economies fell into chaos. And the crisis didn't begin in the developing world. It began in the heart of the Western systems. For many countries, this moment changed everything. If the system built by the Western could fail so badly, why should the rest of the world trust it forever? This question has planted. This question planted the seed of BRICS rise. Gradually, the BRICS nations began talking, at first quietly, then formally, then strategically. In 2006, foreign ministers met. In 2009, the first summit was held. In 2010, South Africa joined. BRIC becomes BRICS. Still, the world didn't take it seriously. They were labeled emerging markets, not leaders, not challengers. But while the world underestimated them, BRICS was building something deeper. The first pillar of BRICS power is people. Together, BRICS countries represent nearly half of the world's population. This is not just a statistics. Population means markets, workers, consumers, innovation, influence. When half of the world's million when half of the world's people move together, the world shifts with them. The second pillar is economic strength. Combined BRICS Combined, BRICS economies are worth over $28 trillion dollars. That is larger than the economy of the United States alone. More importantly, BRICS economies are still growing. Young populations, urbanization, industrial expansion, rising consumption. While many Western economies are slowing, BRICS nations are accelerating. The third pillar is resources. Russia controls vast oil and gas reserves. Brazil feeds large parts of the world. South Africa holds critical minerals and gold. China dominates manufacturing and supply chains. India contributes skilled manpower and digital capability. Together, they control the inputs required to run the 21st century of the world: energy, food, minerals, technology, manufacturing, human capital. This combination is rare and powerful. But the strongest glue holding BRICS together is not money or resources. It is independence. BRICS nations are share a common frustration. For decades, global institutions were dominated by a few countries. Voting power favored the West. Loan conditions interfered in domestic politics. Sanctions were used as weapons. BRICS countries wanted different systems, not controlled by one power, not decided by one currency, not enforced by one ideology. They want choice. This desire for independence became visible when BRICS began expanding. In 2023, the world noticed something extraordinary. BRICS invited new members: Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia. Suddenly, BRICS was no longer just an economic group, it became an energy superpower. With these additions, BRICS now controls nearly half of global oil production and the majority of global oil reserves. This is larger than OPEC and far more influential. Energy is not just fuel, it is geopolitics. Whoever controls energy controls leverage. For the first time, major oil producers were aligned outside Western systems, trading energy without the US dollar, negotiating without Western pressure, building alternatives. This was a turning point. BRICS also began building its own institutions. The most important among them is the new development bank. Unlike the IMF or World Bank, every BRICS country has equal voting power. Loans focus on development, not political alignment. For many developing nations, this is a revolution. Access to funding without losing sovereignty. Then came another quiet but powerful move, trading in local currencies. India buying oil using rupees, China trading with Russia in yuan, Brazil settling trade in reais. Each transaction reduced dependence on the US dollar. No dramatic announcement, no sudden collapse, just steady erosion. This is how real power shifts happen. There are even discussions of a future BRICS reserve currency, not controlled by one country, backed by real assets, supported by national currencies. If this happens, global financial will change forever, not overnight, but permanently. Infrastructure is another hidden strength of BRICS. China builds ports, railways, and highways across continents. India develops trade corridors and digital highways. Russia opens routes. Russia opens Arctic routes. Brazil controls food supply chains. Africa connects mineral networks. Together, they form an alternative global system. A system that does not rarely a system that does not rely entirely on the West. So, why are so many countries eager to join BRICS? Because the world is tired of dependency. Countries what countries want loans without political pressure, trade without sanctions, currencies without fear, partnership without dominance. They want a multipolar world, and BRICS offers that possibility. BRICS will not destroy the West. It will not replace America. It will not erase Europe, but it will end monopoly. It will create balance, and the balance changes everything. The future world will not have one superpower. It will have multiple centers of influence, multiple alliances, multiple currencies, multiple voices. The global south will no longer sit quietly at the table. It will help decide the menu. BRICS is not perfect. It has internal differences, political tensions, economic inequalities. But history shows us one thing: power does not belong to the perfect, it belongs to the prepared. And BRICS is preparing for a world where power is shared, where rules are negotiated, where choice exists, where dominance fades. The 21st century will not belong to one nation, it will belong to blocks. And among them, BRICS is emerging was one of the most important forces out shaping our future. This is not speculation. This is transformation. This is a history in motion.